There is a strange feeling moving through the PGA Tour right now. Not anger about a bad shot, not anger about a hard course. This feeling is bigger than that. It is about trust. You remember the LIV years. Big money came. Some players took it and left, but other players said no. They stayed loyal. They stayed with the tour when it was hard to stay. Fans loved them for that. Fans believed the tour would take care of them one day. That day is here. The PGA Tour just announced a brand new schedule. A huge change. The biggest change in years. On the surface, it sounds exciting. New rules, new structure, new future. But look closer, and something feels wrong. Because inside this new schedule, there are rules that hit hard. And the players they hit hardest? They are not the players who left for LIV money. They are the players who stayed. The loyal ones. The ones who said no to millions and trusted the tour instead. So what exactly is in this new schedule? And why are the most loyal names suddenly the most worried? Let's break it down. Let's start with what the tour actually built, because you need to understand the new system before you can see the trap inside it. On June 23, 2026, the PGA Tour announced a complete overhaul of how the game will work, starting in 2028. They are splitting the entire tour into two levels. The top level is called the Championship Series. The second level is called the Challenger Series. The Championship Series is the big show, around 23 to 24 events. The majors, the players, international team events, purses of at least $20 million, fields of 120 players. Sounds great, right? Stay with me. The Challenger Series runs underneath it. Smaller fields, around 144 players. Purses starting at $4 million. On paper, it looks like a normal second tier. A place to develop. A place to climb back up. That is the story the tour wants you to believe. But here is where it gets uncomfortable. This is not just two levels sitting side by side. This is promotion and relegation, just like European soccer leagues. Win, and you move up. Lose your form, and you get pushed down. No mercy, no history, no memory of what you did before. Brian Rolap, the tour's CEO, is calling this a return to pure meritocracy. Earn your spot, keep your spot. Simple, right? Even Rory McIlroy has already reacted publicly, calling the lower tier nothing more than a glorified corn ferry, a top tier and a bottom tier, connected by a trap door. And once you see who actually falls through that trap door, this story turns dark fast. Here is the first hit. The relegation rule does not care how long you have played or who you turn down to stay. It only looks at one season, your last season. That's it. So picture a player who said no to LIV money in 2022, stayed loyal for years, built his whole career on the tour. Then one bad year hits, an injury, a slump, anything. Under this new system, none of that loyalty matters. One rough year, and you are pushed down to the Challenger Series, playing for a fraction of the money, fighting just to climb back to where you already were. And the players who left for LIV, many of them never had to live under these rules at all. So the players being tested the hardest by this new system are the exact players who never left in the first place. That alone would sting. But the next change removes the one safety net that used to protect them when they were struggling. For years, the tour used something called sponsor exemptions. If a player was going through a slump, tournament organizers could still invite him into a big event, even if his ranking did not qualify him. It was a quiet way of saying, "We still believe in you." Jordan Spieth used this more than once during his rough years. He stayed loyal to the tour through it all, and those exemptions helped him stay in the game, find his form again, and keep competing at the highest level. Under the new system, sponsor exemptions in the Championship Series are gone, completely removed. So if a loyal player like Spieth hits a slump again in the future, that bridge back is no longer there. He would have to fight his way up from the lower tier like everyone else, no matter what he gave up to stay loyal in the first place. Losing that safety net is bad enough. But what happens to players who already earned protection through winning? That answer might be the most troubling part of this whole story. Normally, winning a tournament on tour gives a player years of protection, a multi-year exemption earned through performance, meant to protect his career even through future slumps. It is one of the oldest, most respected traditions in professional golf. But under this new system, the tour has not yet said how winners' exemptions and career exemptions will work. Nothing is confirmed. Nothing is promised. That means players who won tournaments expecting years of protection do not actually know if that protection will still mean anything by 2028. They earned something under one set of rules, and now they are being told to wait and see if it still counts under a brand new set of rules. For players who built their careers on trusting the tour, this kind of silence feels like its own quiet betrayal. And if you think that uncertainty is bad now, wait until you hear what is happening to the very next season. Here is something most fans have not connected yet. The new system starts in 2028, but eligibility for that system is being decided based on performance during the 2027 season. The problem is, players were planning their 2027 season under completely different rules. Nobody told them this season would suddenly decide their future status. So now, every player on tour is walking into a season they thought was normal, except it secretly is not. It is a hidden qualifying war for their career. Players managing injuries, players easing back into form, players who planned a lighter year, none of them knew they were actually playing for survival. And just when loyal players are fighting harder than ever to protect their spot, here comes the part of this story that feels the most unfair of all. While the tour pushes its most loyal members toward a system with relegation and no safety nets, there is another conversation happening quietly behind the scenes. The tour has been exploring pathways for LIV players to return. Brooks Koepka has already come back. Meanwhile, LIV itself has reportedly lost its financial backing from Saudi Arabia's PIF and is searching for new investors, which may be pushing more players to look toward a return. Think about what that means. Players who left the tour, took the guaranteed money, and in some cases even sued the tour, may be welcomed back through the front door. Meanwhile, players who stayed through every hard year, who never even considered leaving, are the ones now facing relegation and lost protections under the new rules. That contrast alone tells you everything about who this new system actually protects and who it leaves behind. Now let's put real names to this, because once you hear who is actually affected, this story stops feeling distant. Start with Rory McIlroy. No player fought louder or longer against LIV Golf than Rory. He defended the tour publicly, year after year, even when it cost him support from other players. He turned down offers worth hundreds of millions, simply to stay and protect the tour he believed in. In return, he gets a system where the very tier built to catch struggling stars is being called, by his own words, a glorified corn fairy. He gave the tour his voice and his loyalty. What he got back is a demotion lane with his name already attached to the warning. Then there is Jordan Spieth, loyal through every difficult year, never once tempted by LIV's offers. He gave the tour his best seasons and his worst ones too, trusting that the system would still have a place for him when his game slipped. The very player who used sponsor exemptions to climb back when that slump hit. That bridge is now gone, right as his career enters a stage where he may need it again. He sacrificed the guaranteed money for loyalty, and loyalty just removed his safety net. Colin Morikawa is another name caught in this. A two-time major champion, completely loyal to the tour, currently working through a back injury after finally winning again earlier this year. He turned down LIV at the height of his value, betting on the tour's future instead of a guaranteed fortune. Reports already describe players quietly discussing his relegation risk if his form does not hold. Think about that for a second. A two-time major winner talked about as a possible candidate for the second tier because of one difficult stretch after choosing loyalty over millions. If a major champion can fall through the cracks of this system, imagine what it means for the players just below him. Will Zalatoris turned down a reported $135 million from LIV Golf to stay. $135 million refused so he could keep building his career on the tour he trusted. He is still working his way back from injury, and now he steps into a system with far less room for error than before. The exact moment his sacrifice should be paying him back, not testing him harder. Justin Thomas, a major champion who also said no to live, is dealing with his own form slump, with no clear answer yet on how his career exemption will be treated. He stayed for the promise of stability. What he has instead is silence about whether that stability still exists. And then there is the middle class of the tour. Names like Taylor Pendrith, Denny McCarthy, Mackenzie Hughes, and Joel Dahman. These are players who never had a private jet full of LIV money waiting for them. They never had a sacrifice to make, because leaving was never even on the table. They simply worked, year after year, grinding for their spot, believing that showing up every week and staying loyal to the tour was its own kind of investment. Right now, if the season ended today, several of them would already be sitting outside the safe zone, facing the exact relegation this new system created, with nothing extra in return for years of quiet loyalty. These are not villains in this story. These are the players who did exactly what the tour asked of them: stay, compete, build the tour's future. And in return, the system being built for that future may end up pushing many of them down first. So here is the real question sitting underneath all of this, and it is the one nobody at the tour wants to answer directly. Back in 2024, the PGA Tour gave loyal players something special: an equity program, a real financial stake in the future of the tour itself. It was the tour's way of saying, "You stayed, so now you own a piece of what we are building together." Commissioner Jay Monahan made it clear at the time: stay loyal and you will be rewarded. Now compare that promise to what is actually being built: a system based purely on this season's results. No memory of past loyalty. No guaranteed safety net during a slump. No clear protection for past wins. And quietly, a door left open for the very players who walked away. Maybe this truly is meritocracy, exactly as Rolap describes it. Maybe a results-only system is simply what professional sports needs to stay fair and exciting for everyone. But somewhere in that fairness, a specific group of players, the ones who said no to guaranteed millions because they trusted the tour's word, are left wondering if that loyalty ever truly mattered. The tour asked them to stay for the promise of tomorrow. Now tomorrow has arrived, and the rules look nothing like what they were promised. So here is my honest take. If players are punished this hard for one bad season, after years of staying loyal through everything, that is not meritocracy. That is short memory dressed up as fairness. I think the tour owes its most loyal players more protection than this, not less. But I want to know what you think. Do you believe this new system is fair to the players who stayed, or is this one of the biggest betrayals we have seen in modern golf? Tell me exactly where you stand in the comments, because this debate is far from over. And if this video helped you actually understand what is happening behind the headlines, that is exactly what this channel is built for. Real conversations, real research, no fluff, just the truth about the PGA Tour, explained the way fans actually want to hear it. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next part of this story as it unfolds. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.